Hi, and welcome to Pursuit of Tomorrow. Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Now, in the spirit of that, I've decided to invite anyone and everyone onto this platform here to help discuss the idea and how we can actively pursue tomorrow as opposed to just kind of passively receiving it. Now, before we get started, I just want to say any support to the channel would mean so much to me. So like, comment and subscribe, and without any more to say, let's get right into the episode. So welcome to Pursuit of Tomorrow, and welcome Jose to Pursuit of Tomorrow. Man, I appreciate you coming through doing this with me.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here. Good to be here, bro.
So I'm gonna get straight into it.
Let's go.
So before we get into the Pursuit of Tomorrow, you know I like to take a little quick introspective look into yesterday. So I should bring some props that have some personal meaning to you. What did you bring through?
I brought obviously this bottle, which is basically represents for me health. Anyways, it got to a point in my life where I felt like I was just putting anything into my body, and it was just like it felt as though I didn't care enough about my physical, appearance or health.
Right.
Because I was okay with everything else. I was okay with, my mentality and all that stuff. And I just didn't put any effort into me physically. I was okay just doing the bare minimum. So I just decided to revolutionize, the stuff that I put inside myself, like food. I stopped drinking fizzy drinks and all that stuff. Right. And I got my girlfriend and my sister-in-law into it as well. So we all have this same bottle, just different colors. This is actually not mine. I forgot the barbers, but this is my girlfriend's, and this is the number one artifact. Number two, I don't actually give sentimental value to a lot of objects and stuff, but I'd have to say the car that I'm driving now, just because I love people, and that's the one thing in one place where I can just meet people and have, real conversations.
Right.
You do someone a favor, like, oh, drive him here, drive him there, and they feel, open, and they can talk, they can, tell them how you feel. And yeah, those are two things that,
I like that,
mean a lot to me.
My dad's quite like that, when you're driving people about it. There's something different about being in a car that it just creates a certain space that, if anything, it's a space I'm trying to create right here,
Indeed.
But it just happens so organically, The things you find yourself talking about in a car are,
it's weird.
It's
like one secret space.
Yeah, it's like always when you're in the car or you're in like the barber seat.
Yeah, it's just,
man.
You drive somewhere and you park and it's like, oh, it's time for the people to go, and it's just hard to leave. You just sit there, and just talk about stuff, and then time just flies. And barbershop is the same thing.
Yeah, same vibe.
You feel like it's family. And I hear you when you say that's what you're trying to create here. That's how I feel. It feels like you can just sit down and talk.
That's good. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad it's been able to do this thing. So yeah, I also asked about any music, film, any kind of form of medium, to be fair, has personal meaning to you.
Obviously there's music. I think that's the one that obviously people look at the most. But there's artists that have changed my whole perspective on life. Obviously being a young black man, people expect you to be into hip hop and drill and grime, which I do appreciate because that's a culture that I grew up surrounded by. But Luther Vandross, his Dance with My Father album is one of the most important pieces of my whole life. Just hearing him talk about obviously relationships, talk about his character, how you know, with all the success that comes with him, there's a way that people look at him.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's just dope music.
Yeah.
That's the music I play in my car.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about the old
man.
school, and obviously I think that's what I like as well with old school music is the stories.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think nowadays there's a topic in music. So you know you take your selection of topics and
then you push it.
You express yourself around them. But back in the days, man. Yeah, man used to just sing stories, man. Like even the love songs were whole love stories.
They had to, though.
Like truly poetry.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
They had to, because obviously with music back in the day, not every artist was like an amazing singer.
No.
So they had to have like content that would keep people engaged. Some of the greatest musicians of back in the day, they can sing, but if you put them next to say what Beyonce or you put them next to someone, it's just like vocally, it's a different level.
Like music's evolved in that way.
Yeah,
as well.
so it makes it easier now to just like make music without having to focus on content. But back in the day, they had to.
Yeah.
But Luther Vandross was just dope. It was just amazing, through.
Yeah, there's no such. Way back when, no such thing as CDs, no downloads, no nothing. So it's like if you need to engage a crowd, an audience, you know, like man, it's been known, you know, whether it be theatre or the movies, if you can sit down and tell someone a story,
then people will sit.
Yeah, you got them hooked.
Yeah.
Cool. So, any films that do something similar for you?
Bro, my top 3 films: Treasure Planet,
okay,
Gladiator,
yes,
and just for the sake of it, I'm gonna say 300.
Okay.
Treasure Planet and Gladiator, just the emotion. Treasure Planet, I don't know if you've seen it. It's a Disney, Disney movie came out around the same time as Lion King, but because Lion King was Lion King, it was just brushed to the side, and most people have never heard about it. But if it came out at a different time, I think that would be one of the biggest Disney movies. And it's just a story of this young man who his father leaves, and he's now with his mother, and he's trying to understand why his father left as he watched him leave. And he starts getting into trouble, and he's adventurous, and he's trying things, and his mother is like, I don't know what to do with him, I don't know how to deal with him. But it's just him exploring and trying to make sense out of everything that's happened. One day, he, you know how movies go, alien falls, whatever. And now he has the opportunity to fly to a whole different planet. They're looking for this place called Treasure Planet.
Right.
And yeah, in his head he's thinking, if I can get there and get some treasure, I can come back and make my mother proud. I can fix all of her problems. But you know how Disney is. So these boats are flying in space. It's not like, rockets. It's like boats in space. It's like pirates, but like in the universe. So watching that movie for the first time, it was like, man, there is literally no limit to what you can be. And obviously I related to his story with the whole misunderstanding between, having your father walk out, but at the same time, wanting to do good, but because your mother does not see, like a young boy, she's obviously a mother, and there's a lot of things that she can't relate to me when it comes to me being, a young boy, and her just like being traumatized by stuff that I did, which my dad would have looked at and said, "Oh, this is normal. This is like normal for him to do," and just like wanting to come back home and be like, "Mom, like I made it. I want you to be proud." So that's Treasure Planet, my favorite movie of all time. And Gladiator is just his passion. He just wants a normal life. He just wants to be with his wife and his kid. In the mountains, kind of like Thanos, He just wants a peaceful life. But then, because he's so good at what he does, which is like war, The emperor does not want to let him go,
Right.
so he ends up in a whole lot of trouble and ends up becoming a slave, and now he's being used as a like a fighting slave, for entertainment, and how he grabs that opportunity and basically just shifts the whole nature of the entertainment itself. So yeah, those are two movies that I can watch anytime.
Yeah.
You know, how about you? Is there any
Oh,
particular
me?
movie? Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned The Lion King. Yeah. Now, I remember when I first watched this movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't even watch it. I got halfway through, man. I see Long Live the King. I see he wasn't living much longer. And I'm like 3 years old, man. I had nothing. I ran to my room. I was bawling.
Yeah.
My dad's trying to get me for weeks. Like, Ruel, man, come on, finish the film. Like, I'm like, no. It's like, if they ain't no muscle, what's the point? Yeah? Like, what am I gonna do with this film?
That's so real.
And he's like, nah, come watch it. Like, so I watched the rest, right? I remember I first looked at my phone, like, you have me continue this movie for Timon and Pumbaa, like, but there was one specific bit he wanted me to see, and it was Mufasa in the sky, and obviously, he prophesies that earlier in the movie when he says, like, I'll always be there. He just said, the kings of the past are always looking down on us, that's what the star is. And then obviously he becomes one of the ancestors himself, and he's looking down and he's delivering a message to Simba, but he's also kind of channeling that through Rafiki, because Rafiki is the all-knowing on the ground, he's the guru, the wise man. And I think the reason I resonated with that is because my dad's dad, my paternal grandfather, I never met him, and I always hear such great things about him. Like, I've always heard such great things about him.
Yeah.
And there are so many little things that I do, right? And people didn't realize this as I was growing up. It just hurt me every time. They're like, your grandfather used to be that way. And I was like, that's great, but I wish I knew. And then watching The Lion King, I was like, no, I might not know personally, but he knows. He's got the opportunity to guide. I mean, he's got his own Rafikis on the ground. My dad grew up with like a huge friendship base. And the same people who say, oh, your grandfather was into this, but the one that would teach me about him. And I think kind of through life now, I hold Mufasa as a very dear character in my heart, for the people he can represent. And I like that theme in that it's the strength of the family that you have had, the family that you have, and the family that you make. So man, that's me.
Nah, that's beautiful. I mean, we are the evidence, of the fact that they were here, So I hear.
Yeah, and I like, as I say, there's just, I like that a good movie becomes a good movie, or a good story becomes a good story, period, when it's able to put those heartstrings, those physical heartstrings, you actually felt it. Obviously, like, literally bring it back one more time to when, I think it was Scar looked at him, he's like, Mufasa. No, Sarabi, both of them they think it's Mufasa.
When they see Simba.
And they're like, he's like, no. He's like, this is me, but I carry that energy now. I carry that name through me now. But that's like, I personally there are people in my life that I know I'm not ready to lose, but there are people in my life that I've lost recently that I was never ready to lose, but you kind of pull back to those strong stories. That's like, man, they're gone, but they're not gone.
They're not gone. They're not gone. They're in us.
Obviously, the more you could do to immortalize them,
I mean, carry the legacy.
Precisely, and if anything, that is a large part of what you see in Gladiator. Because I mean, it's spoilers, but the movie's been out for a while. I need to check out. Watch it by now. That's a shame on me. But obviously, he's carrying his wife and his child. And
for them, that he goes through to such extent.
And yeah, man, even to bring back to 300, man, a different way of doing it, but hey,
Bro,
same story.
It's just that emotional. I will fight for what I love,
Yeah,
and in order to protect what I love, and even when it's lost, the fight is still worth fighting because of the effect that it will have on the future generations.
yeah, it's what you're able to immortalize.
Yeah.
So do you have any experiences that that have informed your modern interests? Your fights, your loves. Like where did that start for you? Where what's a story you can tell that
Pinpoint that I can bring. Oh man. See, I grew up in Mozambique, and the reason that's different from growing up here, I had the opportunity to grow up in like 3 different countries, and they were all first, second, third world. Growing up in Mozambique was like I just had freedom to step out of the house after breakfast and come back before the sun goes down. Like I just had the freedom to just go and do an experience with friends, cousins. You didn't have to come back home for lunch. You could stop at family members, house and just eat, and you just had the freedom to just explore and go far, without any fear of, living in the UK where it's like, oh, make sure you're back by this time. Or be careful, you might get run over by a car. Like that wasn't a thing, for me. So from a young age, I just had space, to try things, to find out for myself who I am, and be able to make decisions based on literally just me and what I've been taught in my family and culturally. So experience wise, it have to be with my father. I basically went outside, did a whole bunch of random stuff, came back home, and got myself in trouble. He was away because he plays football. We used to play football, and I just got in a lot of trouble. And everybody was like, "Wow, you were in so much trouble. Wait until your dad comes home, and you're gonna get disciplined, and you're gonna get in so much trouble." And I was just like, you know what I mean? I was just trying to find out how it works. And now I'm about to get whooped. And I remember my dad got home, and he was like, "All right, son, I need to talk to you." He was like really strict, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's about to go down. Like it's happening right now." Puts me in his car. We drive off, and I'm thinking, when am I gonna get? Like, when is this gonna happen?
Like, where am I being taken?
You have to be on guard at all times. And you know how you watch soap operas, especially in Mozambique, and you see people drive people like to desert places, tell them to get out of the car, and then just drive off home. I thought that was what's gonna happen, but I remember him just driving me to a restaurant, and we sat down at the restaurant. He ordered me my favorite dish, and we just sat and just caught vibes. It was just like a normal conversation. He was asking me, "Oh, why did I do what I did?" And I tried to explain to him, and it was just me being wild and getting myself in trouble. And he just laughed about it. He was like, it's normal. Make sure you have boundaries. Make sure you don't do stuff that will end up hurting other people. But feel free to explore and try. And although he wasn't like obviously the best father a person can ask for, I feel like I still got something from his existence that was still something that he passed on to me. And that moment when I expected to be disciplined in a particular way and ended up being disciplined in a different way that ended up having such a big effect on me. Don't get me wrong, I did get whooped at different circumstances. I'm not saying I never did, but I'm saying that specific day, it was like, you know what, like just feeling like you're actually trying to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
And trying to understand why I did what I did.
Mm.
Yeah, that moment just opened up me. That's when I realized, you know what, I am Jose Kelly. I'm nobody else, and I can't make decisions based on what everybody else thinks. There's always gonna be someone out there who will understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. But that should never be the goal. So I think that was the moment for me.
That's cool. So you know, you mentioned that obviously, you know, he was able to have that strong impact for the short amount of time that he was around. Like, you know,
Yeah.
is there anyone who was able to kind of like fill that void for you and kind of continue to help you on your journey as you're growing up?
Of course. As I said to you, I just came from Uncle Jay's house, and he's like my mentor. He's my friend. He's like a father figure to me. Like if I had to paint the image of a father, that's what it would look like.
Okay.
Here's a picture to me of family. Just seeing him obviously loving his wife and his kids, and obviously no family's perfect, but just seeing him be present and engaging and real, that has a big impact on me. That has given me hope, because I came from a place where everybody's a single mother. All the fathers are, out and about. My best friend growing up, him, like, we connected over the fact that both of our fathers were just like OT away, and it was like, the rest of the kids don't understand this, but we understand each other because that's the reality. So being able to just watch him lead his family, represent his family, and fight for his family, love on his family, and love on me. I'm not his blood. We're not related in any particular way. We literally just met at church and just built a friendship, and now it feels like he's a father to me. And obviously I don't want to say that and then put so much weight on his shoulders, but that's literally how it feels. And it's probably one of the most impactful people in my life. Whenever I have questions, that's who I ask. I was driving my car and I parked outside the big Tesco and got out of the car only to realize that I locked the key inside the car. And bro, I was like, how the hell is that even possible? I was looking out the window and I could see the key just, dangling then. And he's the one I called. And he came and he managed to take the key out. Asked me how, I don't know. But that's like who he represents to me. He's just he's like Rafiki. He's like my Rafiki.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love him for it.
No, that's dope, man. I like that,
Yeah.
Like you said, man, that's your Rafiki, someone who's always obviously able to guide you in a way. Obviously, it would always be unorthodox in that, like you say, it's like, where do you put him? It's like friend, mentor.
Yeah, they're just
a little bit of both,
different hats. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So as we move into the pursuing of tomorrow, like where this story of yours takes you even further into who you are. There's that Howard Thurman quote: "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because what the world needs is people who have come alive.
Yeah.
So as you have lived this life, what do you now pursue that kind of brings you to life? That continues with you on your journey.
Yeah. I feel like I read a book called Wild at Heart, and that was literally the quote that they threw around throughout the whole book.
Wow.
And it was like, the people doesn't need good people. It just needs people who come alive, people who are doing things that make them feel alive. Because when you do something that makes you feel alive, you do it with love and passion, and that's what the world needs. People need people who are alive, rather than just just walking and doing routine.
Yeah.
Cause it's painful. A lot of people die just because they keep going in circles and circles, and there's no life in there. and most of the times it's just because of what was passed on by somebody else growing up. But for me, I could never tell people this is what I want to do when I grow up. In school, when they asked me what profession do you want, like what do you want to do when you grow up, I could think in my head like I love football, but I also love art, but I also love music, but I also love this, but I also love this. It was hard for me to be like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So growing up, I just did everything. It was just like I just invested time and effort into everything, and just watching the effects of arts and sports and all that stuff on other people made me realize that my gift is creating the atmosphere required for people to thrive. Like, that's what I do best. If I see someone and I see their gift and I see what they're good at, because I have experience on almost everything, I'm able to be like, okay, if you want to improve in this area, this is what you can do. This is what you should do.
Right.
So what I do and what I want to do into the future, like, I just want to inspire and influence and impact people, and cause people to find out what it is that they love and what they feel like they were created to do, and just feel them as much as I can.
Right.
Because that's when I feel alive. That's when I feel like I'm in place. When I spend time with my little brother, teaching him how to shoot, and then I'll go and watch his game on Sunday, and he scores 3 goals, and he's like, "Oh, this is what we practice." That's when it's like, yes,
Yeah.
that's what makes me feel alive. When I put a live show together, and I invite a bunch of people who would love to perform, but they just never had the opportunity, or they never had the courage to do it, and then I see them do it, and then I see that face, the expression in their face after the show. It's like, this is what I love to do. At the same time, I love doing it myself. I performed for the first time at the Mish a few years ago, and I remember performing a song called "I Believe," and I was just saying, "I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win." I was sweating. I wasn't even supposed to perform that night. I just did it because somebody didn't show up, and it was like, "Yo, I love this experience. This is amazing." But as soon as it was over, this person came up to me and he was like, "Yo, I came into this place thinking of killing myself, contemplating suicide. But when I heard you and everybody saying, I believe that we will win, I believe that we will win, I felt like maybe I can win too. Maybe it's possible for me to, stay here and fight as well." And it was like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm doing the things that make me feel alive, if I'm doing the things that make me feel like I'm supposed to be here, that ricochets and that ripples into everybody else. All of a sudden, you're surrounded by people who just want to use their gifts and talents to inspire, influence, and impact. And I've never done any recruiting. These people just have gravitated towards me. And as I come alive and I give life to them, they end up doing the same for me. So that's what I want. I just want to create an enterprise that has no limits when it comes to how alive people can come, like how much they can do. But at the same time, just room for people to explore their gifts and their talents and just come alive.
Yeah, no, that's a really powerful way of being. I think a lot of people, I like how well you've actually managed to grasp that quote and obviously work it back into your answer in terms of coming alive, because I think that's what it is at its core. It's the ability to come alive and do it so authentically and unapologetically that you actually inspire others around you to do the same. And quite literally, you are able to bring someone back to life. And and you wonder where this person's at now. You wonder.
I know this person. The person is growing. Still growing. So it's good to watch. But
inciting growth in people is always something that is it's an irreplaceable experience,
Facts.
and it definitely takes a certain kind of person, because you have to be able to, like I said, be so authentically you
Yeah.
that you bring about that in others as well.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people try and recreate that in ways of quite literally trying to pull people up,
Yeah.
but it can never work that way.
Yeah.
because
It's fabricated. Yeah.
yeah, as you're pulling them up, you're also pulling yourself down. So you're not actually bringing the best out in everyone,
Yeah.
because you can't even be the best for yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but no, I like the way you managed to do that. So, you know, what does your day, your week, your month look like as you as you continue to build, well, that authentic version of you, you know, as you build this enterprise?
There's the I started simplifying my life. I realized one of the things that kept me from coming alive was the fact that it was just too much. It was too. It was like, oh, I have to figure out this profession. I have to figure out this job. I have to figure this out.
Right.
Rather than I need to come alive
Yeah.
and I need to be myself,
Yeah.
and out of myself, the stuff that I thrive in will literally just come out. One of my favorite musicians, his name is Tobe Chukwudubemwigwe. And I love the experience of enjoying his art because he's so authentically himself that you just have to adapt to whatever it is that he does.
Right,
He's
yeah.
a hip hop artist. How many hip hop artists do you know that pull up on stage with wife, kids,
Right.
and the other kid, and the kids are running around on stage, while the wife is breastfeeding another one, while he's performing and creating an amazing experience for everybody. He is not afraid of just being himself. A lot of people will be like, "Oh man, wifey, I need you to stay home because I have to go and do this."
Yeah.
They cut a part of themselves in order to fit into, which works, makes sense. But he just did what he was doing on his daily basis.
Yeah.
He's trying to write songs, but at the same time he's trying to take care of his kids, and that natural and normal appearance that his life has is literally what's causing him to thrive and grow and become everything that he's meant to be. So that's what my life looks like. I literally do what I want to do, what I feel like I need to do. Obviously, work and all that stuff, but at the same time, just being me. I'll go to church, and if someone asks me where you been, I've been to church. I'll go see my friends who they might be drug dealers, or they might be lost into different things, and they're still my friends. Obviously, I don't know if I don't agree with what they're doing, but they're still my friends, and I have no shame in the fact that they're my friends. And I occupy both spaces, and in both spaces, I'm Jose Kelly. I'm like authentic to myself. And that's what allows me to make a difference. The fact that I don't seclude myself to a specific area, a specific place. As long as in whatever place I am, I'm authentically myself. And at first, when I started, breaking these barriers of, oh, Josie, you shouldn't be hanging out with them, or Jose, why would you be with that person? As soon as I put that barrier down, the opposition I found was people just saying, like, what if this has an effect on you, or whatever. You should be out here making an impact to these people. And he was like, these are the people that are doing all right in life. The people who actually need my impact are the Simbas in the jungle. The people who actually need my impact are the people who are now under the reign of Scar. Those are the people that need me at the end of the day. And it's like I'm not gonna seclude myself and put myself in this little box that is the image and the picture of what people think Josie should be like, rather than everything else. Even with just the way I dress, the way I carry myself, it's like it's just me.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm me, and as long as I'm doing me to the best of my ability, and as long as I'm always growing and always learning to love people, always creating, always learning, always um, you know, taking and giving simultaneously, I feel like my life will only continue growing into a fuller version of what I'm supposed to be. Um, and yeah, I can't live in a box and hope that this box is gonna be comfortable enough
Yeah.
to make a living in when I'm older. I have to allow myself to focus on inspiring, influencing, and impacting. And today that might be, you know, doing music. Tomorrow it might be doing films. The week after it might be, I don't know, sports. The week after it might be something else, and it's like there's literally no limit. Look at Kevin Hart, for example.
Yeah.
He's a comedian, and people are like, why are you not just telling jokes?
Yeah.
Why are you not just, you know, whatever? And it's like he is a comedian, but the way he does his comedy is not limited to just standing on stage and telling stories.
Right. Yeah.
He's making movies. He makes, you know, dramatic movies, and you still see the funny Kevin Hart in these dramatic movies. Radio show. He's doing fitness. He's doing all kinds of things, and all these things all come back to who he is, which is the person who wants to make people laugh.
I think there's this misconception
Yeah.
that to be authentically yourself is to be static.
In one thing. Yeah.
Yeah. When it's not, I think there is so much strength in alter egos.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because when I see you playing football, it's like, oh, that's Jose playing football.
Yeah.
Jose Keller playing football.
Yeah.
It's like, and I see that in you right now. I see that when I've seen you on stage. You know, you carry an essence of yourself into everything that you do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another really strong way of being. So you know, it's always, it's good to pick your brain on things like that. You know, because I say it's easy to see it, but now it's like, hey, put into words to you know, even catch on camera, articulate. You know, you know, I think a lot of people will benefit from understanding what you just said there. This idea that you can be yourself, but different versions of yourself in different versions of your day. Because if you've nailed what it means to be you at the start of the day, then it doesn't matter how far you vary in your activities. There'll always be that core as you go around.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
So, as we move into just this final question here, the final little prompt, there's obviously a version of you existing however many years in the future who's been on this journey much longer than yourself.
Yeah.
What do you think that version of you in the future would look back and give you? Just words of encouragement, advice?
Every time I think about it, I feel like it'd be a different thing. But one thing I know for sure that the future version of myself would say to me is invest your time into what really matters at the end of the day. Because it's easy to just, because you have time, because we assume we have time, to just do whatever or carry ourselves in whatever way. And some people want to create an image of themselves of, oh, this, I'm busy, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And it's like at the end of the day, what is it that's gonna matter? What is it that's gonna stay together? What is it that's made of gold? If we burn the whole house down, like, what is it that's gonna stay? And stay alive. And I feel like that's what the future version of myself would tell me. It would be like, Jose, there's a bunch of things that you are spending time, energy, and money on that is not necessary. Because I feel like that's what I'll tell the past version of myself. I'd turn around and say, look, you know, it looks like it makes sense. It looks like it's worth doing, but deep inside you know that that's not worth as much as you putting into it. If I invested more time into my family, into figuring out who I am, into loving people and caring about people rather than being out here looking for speculations. Oh, who said what? Oh, I want to fight that person, or oh, I'm spending. Oh, I just got paid for the first time. I'm gonna go buy, stuff that I absolutely do not need.
Yeah.
Could have been so much further. So I feel like that's what I tell myself. Yo, sit down, and burn the stuff that that won't matter.
I mean, you actually touched base on that earlier about the idea of simplifying one's life.
Yeah.
So, obviously, once you take out the material things, once you understand that you've quite literally simplified your life, what can you now do on an emotional level that will simplify and deepen out your life? On a spiritual level, on a social level, on all these things that make you. It's like, how far can you go to refine that? So.
Facts.
But no, man, I trust you on your journey, man, because you say that's the same thing you say to your past self, and I've definitely seen that trajectory. I've watched you, because I remember when we first met, man. I remember when we first met, and you and I were just very, very different people. And it's strange to say that at a young age. Because at each interval of life, you think, no, this is who I am. This is the version of me. Like, how much can I really differ in 5 years' time? But then 5 years pass and you're like, oh wow, that's how much we can differ. But yeah, man, the growth is ever present. So that's it, man.
It has to be.
Yeah, so that's exactly why you're coming on the show, man. Because
No, but same to you though. It'd be easy to just stay at home and be like, nah, bro, I can't come, I'm busy. But because I've seen you and seen how consistent you've been with figuring out how you want to leave your mark, I remember being invited to your house and you just had a bunch of different people that I've never met. And I remember leaving that place like, man, I needed to know that, the world is not just Jose and Jose's friends. There's more people. And seeing how you brought everybody together and you had a picture in mind of, the direction that we could all go and how we could all contribute towards this big idea that you're putting together. It was like, man, we do matter, and if we can come together, we can do something. And even with the show that you're doing now, it's like an opportunity for people to just come and be Rafiki. For us at home who will go on your YouTube channel, which I think you guys should subscribe to if you haven't yet. Go into the channel and be like, man, I can pull a little bit from, Jamberco, I can pull a little bit from Steve Basanti. And all of that adds into finding who you are and being yourself, and that's what's gonna matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, every person that was in that house that day, I've collaborated with since. And they're the exact kind of people who now I'm on this new venture I would invite back, because that group still exists in some capacity. It's quite dormant at the moment, but it's just it's a small group chat full of creatives. It's like okay, COVID taught us that not everything has to be a link up at the yard, but at least we can keep that line of communication open for things to happen. It's about potential. That's where this show came from. Again, it's about the potential for people to be able to pull from these stories. And man, it's like you take a moment to understand other people's egos, and it helps to inform your own, because there's nothing wrong with ego. Ego is when you superimpose who you are onto someone else. But when you just show the world who you are authentically, that's the best version of ego. That's the best definition of it.
Unless you're a trash person. If you're a trash person.
That's
figure that out first before.
But the thing is, that's true as well, because you ever be with those people, man, they swear they just said something. They swear they said something. And you're just there like, it's not that it wasn't deep, it was deep in the direction I wasn't trying to go today, like,
I hear you.
It's like, you see a lot of these people who like he's on daytime television. Sometimes you're like, how did you get a show? Or how do you get a spot on that show?
Yeah.
And these people are doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Because they're either you or they're either me. They're either the host or they're the guest.
Yeah.
And it's like what they have to say is like, okay, yeah, that was profound, but is that something you would hold so dear that you would tell your children that, you know, would you give your parents, you know, your cousins that same advice? And honestly, if the answer is yes and it's still trash, then
that's the issue.
You just leave it at the door. Leave it at the door. Little camera rich there, but yeah. Is there anything you like to say to the camera with before we bring this to a close?
What I always say, just recognize that you are a real person, and that if there's a heartbeat under your chest and you're alive, it means that there's a reason, like that you're still here for a reason. There's still a purpose, for your life, and I need you to grab that energy, and that a heartbeat and that momentum, and like just do something. What was it that TDJ said? He said, do something, but if the thing is not the thing, it will be the thing that will lead you to the thing.
Right.
And if that's not the thing, it will be the thing that will lead you to the thing, you know? And as long as you're actively moving forward, and actively searching for the best version of yourself, and looking to come alive, you will. Eventually you'll find your lane. Eventually you'll find your people. You'll find the people that need you most, the places that need you most, and those are the places where you have to be. Those are the places where you're going to thrive. So be inspired, be influenced, and ultimately strive to make an impact, strive to make a difference in the world that we live in. When Mufasa goes, we need to know that there will be a symbol, you know?
I like that. Well, I can't top them, man, so there's nothing else to say from myself. I'm going to say thank you for joining me, and yeah, man, it's been great. So I'll see you guys on next week's episode of See It Tomorrow, and Jason, one more huge thank you for coming through, man.
No problem, bro. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you for the invite.
Always.
Make sure you guys subscribe. Stop playing.
Love, bro, love.
Nah.